Hey, I'm Sid, so thanks for joining me today. So I know there's quite a bit of different tricep workouts out there, and it can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you're new to lifting. At least it was for me when I first started. So I chose 3 workouts that should help you see some noticeable strength and size gains. So also, I know some of y'all might be completely brand new to lifting, so I'm gonna go over some basic terms real quick. So 1 rep is a complete movement of an exercise, and a set is a group of those movements. So if I say do 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps, that means you'll do 8 to 12 reps, take a small break, and then repeat that 3 more times. Also, just so you know, that 8 to 12 rep range is the sweet spot for muscle growth. It fluctuates just a little bit depending on the muscle because some are more resilient than others, but overall, we're going to be focusing on the 8 to 12 rep range today. So let's get into it. All right, so today we're going to start with the tricep dips. Most gyms will have the assisted pull-up or dip machine as well as the sitting dip machine, but today I'm going to be using these. I personally prefer the assisted ones only because that little L-shaped bench lets you rest your knees on it and it keeps your torso upright, which is how you're going to want to be throughout this workout. If you start to lean more forward, that gets more into your shoulders and chest, and we want to isolate the tricep today. You'll see a noticeable difference if you try both back to back, but today we're doing triceps. So for your grip, you're going to want to use the more narrow grip. When you use wider grips, it kind of gets back in that chest shoulder setup, you know. So when you grip it, you're going to want to have your wrists straight like that. A small natural angle is okay, but that is just going to completely destroy your wrists. I've done every mistake you could think of in the very beginning, so hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. So next, with your elbow placement, you're going to want to have your elbows at a 45-degree angle. The best way to figure that out is this chicken wing and then half that. It's that simple. All right, so you're going to start up top, chest up like that. Slowly go down. Stop at that 90-degree angle just like that and go back up. Just like that. All right, now for the newbie tips. So if you're using a setup like this and you just can't get the hang of it with keeping your torso upright, so instead of like this when you go down, you're more like that, you can use these resistance bands. So with the setups that usually have these kinds of bars or where it's 2 bars and then it goes down like that, you can use these resistance bands and they help quite a bit, especially if you're first starting out. So I just like to use the heaviest band available and then I latch it on to something in front of me. So what happens now is my waist is being pulled forward. So even in this position, I have to work to push my butt back. So instead of doing dips like that, which is actually a lot more work to do, that you're just gonna go straight down, just like that. So if you're having trouble with that movement, don't feel bad. Just when you first start working out, you don't really have that mobility quite yet, and these will help you quite a bit. I just like to put it inside my little belt loop right here. But yeah, on to the next one. Also, I forgot to mention that straight wrist as well as that elbow path is going to be the same for the assisted dip machine as well as the seated dip machine, so don't overthink it too much. Also, if you're finding yourself not able to go further down, like you're stuck in this position, or maybe even a little higher, it's completely okay. Over time, you'll build that shoulder mobility, but you don't want to injure yourself right off the bat. So don't go too far, just go to what's comfortable for you. Also, if you're getting to the point where you can do 12 clean reps with no problem, you can start using a belt like this to add weight so you can start building your triceps even more. All right, now time for tricep pushdowns. So for my setup, I like to have the cable a little bit higher. If you have it a little bit lower, like right here, that's also okay, but you want to try and keep it up above your shoulder height. So as far as the grip, I like to use the V grip. If you have a straight bar like this, that's also okay. I just find this to be a bit more comfortable on my wrists. If you're using the straight bar, a good thing to remember is you're gonna wanna imagine like you're breaking the bar in half while you're pushing down, and it feels amazing. So when I say breaking in half, you're like breaking it like that way, not outwards. So back to this. So the most common mistake I'll see with this is people will use momentum, and that's because they're usually starting with their shoulders or their elbows in front of their body, and they throw it back like that. And that's not completely isolating the tricep the way you want to be doing. So for this, you're gonna wanna keep your elbows tucked to your side and your shoulders decompressed. So you'll start like this, and then down and up. You wanna remember, explosive down, and then slow back up, just like that. If you're having trouble keeping your elbows tucked, you can just use a shirt or a towel or something and just put it under your arm. So what happens is when you're in the position to do the exercise, if you have your arms too far forward, the shirt will fall, as well as if you have your elbows flared out. If you do have your elbows flared out like that, it becomes more of like a pushing exercise compared to an actual tricep push down. It's more of like kind of a push-up, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's it. All right, now for individual arm overhead extensions. So for the setup, you're gonna wanna have it kind of below your shoulder blade. When you do the exercise, you're gonna wanna have your arm in line with the cable behind you. So you're just gonna have your arms straight up, and then when you have the cable in hand, just like that. So if you're doing heavier weight, or honestly just in general, since you're probably starting out, just assist yourself grabbing it, just like that. When you're doing this workout, you're gonna wanna try and keep your elbow tucked in a little bit, because if it's kind of just flaring out, you're doing this movement, and that's not as efficient as you could be. So remember, keep your elbow tucked, and straight up, just like that. So I'm personally not that flexible in my shoulders, so this is as far as my arms can go. If you can go like that, that's awesome, but this is okay. But just remember not to do that movement, because you're gonna be using momentum at that point. You just wanna keep your elbow tucked. The only movement should be your upper arm, just like that. But yeah, that's it for overhead extensions. All right, that was it for my triceps day. I hope I was able to help a few of you guys out. I try to make the video a bit more newbie friendly, just because I know when I first started working out, it was really hard to find stuff geared more towards newbies. And a lot of videos out there are filled with a lot of information, and it's kind of hard to understand it at first, but hopefully I can help you guys understand it over time. I'll be making more videos on dieting and different muscle groups and recipes, and just a lot of stuff that's helped me over the years. I just want to keep people from making the same mistakes I did, because I wasted about 4.5 years lifting incorrectly before a personal trainer friend started teaching me and educating me on better practices. So hopefully I can do that for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.